pleasure to welcome all of you on behalf of Fever FM and HT Media Group. Welcome to the Superwomania Conclave and Awards 2025. It's a panel called Tumse Na Ho Paega, and so many of us have heard this in our lives. And luckily for us, we have heard it और दूसरे कान से निकाल दिया और ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. We have put together a very, very special panel. And to moderate this, I'd like to call on stage Zara Jani. She's a well-known lifestyle creator, podcaster, and my friend who speaks straight from the heart and who will be moderating the session here today. And to join her, we have, please put your hands together for Anisha Dixit, one of India's most loved content creators who built laughter into empowerment. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help all of you up the stairs. Thank you for being here. Next, we have Pooja Gupta, media mentor, shaping voices and vision. Please put your hands together for Pooja Gupta. So no gender norms here. Let me be the chivalrous host and guide you up. Guys, put your hands together for Neha K. Kanabar from Unimo, a community, a sisterhood, and someone who has been a community partner. Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And finally, we have Sumera Dhanani, Corporate Head of Business Development at Sayaji Hotels. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, there's something about receiving compliments from women. I think it feels more genuine. So I want to compliment all of you. You're looking amazing. Thank you. It's over to you, ladies.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Panelists. तुमसे ना हो पाएगा ये वर्ड्स हर एक वुमेन ने सुने हैं कभी बाहर से कभी खुद से and also we have this invisible pressure of being perfect. The perfect girl, perfect daughter, perfect mother, perfect wife, etc. And yes, we women, we want it all. But does that mean that we need to do it all? So we're going to unpack all these thoughts with our wonderful panelists. So before we begin, we want to hear from all of you. So I would request if we can have like a brief answer so that everyone gets a chance to talk. Because I have a lot of questions to ask. Neha, I'm going to start with you first. You lead India's largest mom communities. What are mothers today most tired of hearing?
Oh my God, very interesting question. And Zara, you being a community mom yourself and been rocking, I think we all know the answer somewhere. But I think Zara started by saying that somewhere we all are chasing perfection. I think as mothers, हम सबको एक label, एक invisible label लगा दिया जाता है to be perfect in every area of our life. Like we have been creating, or I would say creating and nurturing our families. There also, we are asked to be perfect. We are chasing our careers. We are trying to do our level best in the profession we have picked up. There also the perfect tag. So I think somewhere mothers are tired of that. Because I personally feel it's not a compliment, it's a crown of expectations. That somewhere they want us to be perfect in everything. But let me tell you, perfection is a myth. We should not chase perfection. I personally feel, and I always endorse this concept to my community of mothers also, all you 6.5 lakh mothers sitting in our community, just be real, be present, and be happy. I think that's more important than being perfect because our kids are not wanting perfect mothers. They just want happy moms. And happy moms build happy nations. So I think that's something we are tired of and we want it to be away from us.
I guess that's wonderful and the ultimate truth that they just want happy moms. Yeah. Anisha, over to you. You have built a massive following by being funny and brutally honest. Has humor been your armor against the pressure to be perfect?
Ooh, that's a very deep question. I don't know about if humor has been my armor. I think the fact that I can be funny online helps me a lot in releasing pressure. I think what happens is because you're an online person, right? And now I'm a mother as well. So it helps you to, just let go of everything that's in your mind. Because I think everybody will agree, whoever is a mother, there's a lot of pressure we have. every day to be perfect, to do a lot of things, to make sure your child is okay, your content is on and everything. And I think by being funny, you just get to be a child in one way because you can be just laughing about things. So it does help to an extent, but the pressure is still on. It's still there, very much there. I just have a bigger threshold now, I think. So I would say it helps, but also no.
I don't know if you are hiding perfection behind, I don't know, but we love your content and it definitely puts a smile on our face and adds a little bit of humor to our life.
Thank
So
you.
keep doing that.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Pooja, tell me, talking about balance between chasing success and maintaining sanity, what's one practical thing women can start doing to protect that balance?
So, as everyone is talking about, the lot of expectation that everyone is having from a woman is there, and we need to understand that we should be taking ownership of, voicing our opinion, which all of us are doing in our own capacity. And secondly, that, we should not get under the pressure of society where they expect you to do everything. It's fine. If somebody wants to be a mom or no, let it be her choice. And now as I see all of moms here talking about their pressure, I deal with the moms after their kid is reaching, the college or the school. And they tell me, while I'm talking about their career, they're like, my kid is not listening to me anymore. Maybe the social media is impacting them more than we are able to. So when you say the perfection or the language that is changing for a female, yes, a lot of females are voicing the opinion, but there's a very thin line in the right and wrong. And at the teenage, maybe the kids are again not able to understand where to stand for. Like, I think all of us would agree that feminism is taken in a very wrong direction, where we should understand and take the ownership of explaining that we are not asking for what, the certain things are. So when you're saying the pressure, yes, it's there, but, when it is getting diluted, I think people are misunderstanding when we demand something. That's also is happening at the same time.
That's
there.
beautifully said.
Thank you.
So Mehra, tell me, do you think the corporate world still measures a woman's competence by how well they juggle everything at once? Like, for example, I can talk from a mom's point of view. If the child is sick and a mistake is made by a woman, the instant thing is, oh, maybe, she's thinking about home or her child. But the same thing, if it's done by a man, it will never be compared to the house errands or the child's health, etc.
Hi Zara, hi everyone. You guys are all looking lovely. Firstly, I would like to say that empowerment doesn't mean that women have to do more. I think that is such a cliche thing to be said. And firstly, I would like to say that we're stuck in such a generational loop that we want to keep expecting that women have to do more. Women have to take care of the house, take care of everything. I think that's not fair. And I am surrounded by some amazingly strong women, and the MD of the company, he is a great support. So my corporate space is a safe space for women. But I can see a lot of corporate spaces still need to really upgrade their thought processes, and we need to break this loop. That's the thing that we need to do now. And I think this generation is the place that is going to be breaking this loop, for sure. We all are opening this such a beautiful space, Superwomania, where we get our own expertise on the stage. And we would like to educate, show people that strength isn't lying in being perfection, as we've spoken about. It lies in partnership. It lies in leaning and being, taking support from the people when we need them. And let's not shy away from that, for sure. Taking support is good, because we have so much to do. And this generational pressure on women, I think that we put that on ourselves all the time as well. And that's where, when you tell ourselves, it's okay. Rest is not, that's not being lazy about it. And being ambitious is not being selfish. I think let's just try to create a balance on that part. And also, I would like to say one more thing, is when you give women to be women, when you let them be humans, they grow such strong family bonds, yet at a space of work, they kind of get empathy on the stage. They get empathy. And that is very important. And that kind of creates a really great balance. And no offense to anyone, no offense to men, but I think no one can create balance the way the women can, for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I love the fact you said that, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that's the question I had at the beginning of the panel, that yes, we need it all, but that doesn't mean that we need to do it all.
That's it. Like, there's a really great saying said that you can do everything, but you don't have to do everything. You can have anything, but you don't have to do everything. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Neha, coming to you. There's so much pressure for mothers to smile through exhaustion, to be grateful instead of overwhelmed. How do you think we can start normalizing the idea that motherhood can be beautiful and brutal both at the same time?
Okay, I think that's established fact, what you wanted us to establish together. Motherhood is a beautiful and a brutal journey. However, I think I used a word called gratitude. I personally feel that we all have to start from the journey within. Like even the panel topic is तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. तो सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन आपको पूछना है कि ये outer voice बोल रही है, आपकी inner voice बोल रही है कि तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. If it's inner voice, there's a problem. So I personally feel that somewhere hush that voice, quiet that noise, because the time when you decide that I'm going to take my life in my control, I'm going to move it the way I want to do it, trust me, your ecosystem will start responding to it. I know that all of us do not come from the same place of, I would say empathy, from privileges, from, supporting an ecosystem. But however, first belief has to start from within. If we believe in ourselves, I personally believe in the magic of believing. So if you believe in your own self, the entire ecosystem will start moving for you. And that's what I want women to chase. Because as mothers, the best part is that motherhood gives you something which, other parts of your life doesn't, which is a guilt, which is self-inflicted. We all love that guilt of, so for example, if you're here, then you got to be here. I always say multitasking is a brain disorder. We all take a pride in saying we can multitask, but neurologists also say that it's brain toggling. So we don't want to do that. To keep our sanity alive, I would say be in the moment. If you're here, do not wonder what your kid is doing at home, what he or she is doing at the school. Be present in the moment. Trust me, unitasking is a better sanity than anything else. So that's my take on it.
I absolutely agree. I guess multitasking is overrated.
It is.
It's considered as some superpower, whereas it's actually very hectic.
It is.
It's not
Yeah.
required.
It's a big burnout for everybody. And I really liked what she said. I would like to just add something here. She talked about, empathy. I would say that women to women, the first thing what we should start in this hall full of super women, that be empathetic to a fellow woman sitting next to you. Because empathy is the new
Absolutely.
efficiency, guys. That's the way to go.
That's so true, that's true. And as you said, that we try to show that being multitasking, I think that because we are so, we want to get the work done, because no one else is going to do it. Then what do you have? And you have 24 hours in a day. What else can you do? I wish we could squeeze in some more hours, but that's not possible. So you got to have no option and multitask. And that's when we need everyone else also to step in and not to help, but just go on. And especially the partners.
I think our moderator is the biggest example for that. She's a dear friend, and I've seen her juggling two little kids, yet rocking the Paris ramp and doing what all. I think Zara, mothers like all of us and women like all of us are the biggest example to the supporting ecosystem. And for that to happen, you have to shine so bright that people have to wear some sunshades.
That's true.
So I
That's so true.
Thank you so much, Tania. You're very kind. And yes, I guess we all need to do our part if we need that change to happen for our daughters. And I would again say one important thing which you mentioned is don't be afraid to ask for help, because that's how you will survive. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Anisha, tell me, what's the one thing you have unlearned about being a successful woman in a public place?
Ooh,
I should reframe that. Sorry, in a public space.
one thing I've unlearned. I think I unlearned trying to be successful, because I think when you say successful, it adds a kind of a stigma to it that you have to perform, you have to be a certain way, you have to be perfect. And I think for me, I rather started, just go with the flow, try your best. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. If it works out, great. So I think for me, the biggest thing to unlearn is just to put that pressure on you by trying to be perfect. And I think that's something I unlearned. And honestly, just be happy whatever the outcome is going to be. I think because we post videos every day, we make stories every day. So I think there's always this pressure of, how many views does it get? How is it performing? How are people thinking about it? Are they laughing at the joke? Do they think this video sucks? So I think eventually the best thing to unlearn is just to, whatever you put out and rest to leave up to God. And if it's good, great. If not, it's also great. That's what I've learned.
They say, right, there are no mistakes, there are only lessons.
I think everything you do is a lesson, which you rightly said so, and everything is there for you to learn and grow eventually. And I think everything that happens to us, right, I think everybody, even on stage, we all have had our successes, we had our failures, and I feel it's so beautiful that happened. I think there is no right or wrong way to this. There's whatever happens is for you to grow as a human being. And the fact that, of course, I'm a mother now too, that also helped me, learn so much and struggle so much. I think we all have gone through our own struggles as mothers, coping with our work and being a mother. And that itself is such an interesting journey where it just helps you grow and become stronger. And I think that's why I'm coming back to what I'm saying. I think the biggest thing I've unlearned is trying to be successful. Just trying to be, I think, is the best way.
Absolutely, beautifully said. Pooja, we often talk about mentorship in terms of skills and strategy. But how important is emotional mentorship? Guiding women to be kind to themselves.
See, it's very important because when we say skill set, some things which is tangible and you can compare, but when it comes to emotional intelligence and, as you're saying, mentorship, where you learn how to be sane, and as everyone is saying that, you don't have to be a super, again, I would say superwoman in terms of doing it all. You have to be like, okay, fine, I can do this. And that's where your mental peace comes in. Wherein Anisha is saying about public platform, as I also got into content creation much later than Anisha is. She is much more experienced. But, it takes a toll on your mental health. In terms of when you're putting out a content, yes, it's a constant pressure of, what's going to work, what will not work. And sometimes you will not even expect what's going to work for you. So when it comes to that emotional stability, it comes after a very long time where you learn to let it go. It's fine. So be it a teenage woman or a mid-age or an elderly woman, it is all about understanding where you fit in. And secondly, emotional mentoring should start from home, as you guys are moms, and how you tell your daughter that how you should be going out in the world, and if the judgment comes to you or the comment comes to you, how you take it. Because now I think our kids are vulnerable on the social media platform. When I'm dealing with them in the colleges, I get to hear so many things which, on a public forum I can't even say. It's so dangerous because they don't know what they are putting themselves out on. And the space we are in, all of us, we are constantly comparing each other. So where in the emotional, the emotional mentoring comes in a lot more, where you understand that comparison will take us nowhere. But by human nature, I think we will end up comparing. But there should be a limit to it. So mentoring for emotional well-being is so important, at least now in the world of technology and social media should be there.
I absolutely agree, and I feel, of course, we need to mentor our kids, but at the same time, I guess we sort of need to even mentor our colleagues,
yes,
our juniors, and be vulnerable as to, they sort of just see the good part that, oh, this woman is succeeding and, all of that. But there's always a flip side to it, and I guess as women, we should discuss that. That's where also emotional mentoring comes in place, where we need to know the vulnerable side of being successful. Sorry to use that word, yeah.
Yeah, we all have. I think when we are on camera, people see only the side of which we want to show. But on the back end, I think at times we all have been crying and, being on that stage where we feel so overwhelmed and feel like what to do, what not to do. Like all of us in this space, at least, I think we all have felt that. And when people see, okay, she's successful or she's having so many followers, अरे इसका तो life बहुत अच्छा है, but nobody sees
Not like that.
off camera. I mean, nobody sees that pain. And yes, people are saying we can put it out, but to be honest, I don't think so we can capture it. It's very difficult that, we start crying and switch on the camera, which is not happening. I think then it is a content, not a reality when we do that at times.
If I can just add up something to this, I think especially when you brought up the content creation, right? So I think one plus point at some aspect as a content creator is that we also, because our audience follows us and sees us, not just the comedy side, but this follows because also they know us, they know everything about our life, and we also share a lot, things that probably other people wouldn't. So I think that's one thing. Sometimes, and not everybody does that, right? But many content creators get the freedom to show ki, hey, life is really hard. There's a lot of content creators who talk about mental health and how it has burned them out and everything, right? So that way also, it gives a glimpse of what it means, to be successful, but then also the flip side of it. But it is happening more, and I think people should understand that social media or the, glam life, whatever, isn't just only one side. There are two sides to it.
And I would like to add something that when I see content creators on Instagram and social media, I think that you guys are doing such a great job where you guys normalize this whole thing that it's okay. Everything is not like, hunky-dory. There's a flip side to it, and you guys are normalizing it. I think that is a very important part, which you will be showing to the coming up generation as well, that everything doesn't have to be pretty. Everything, some parts of life are a bit not so happy. And that is a very important part. You guys are doing a great job on that.
Thank you. Well, not so many of us are doing it.
Yeah,
so.
all of you. It's really nice.
So we are talking about vulnerability in the content creation space. So Meera, you belong to the corporate world. Tell me, do you think the definition of strong women in the workplace still equates to suppressing vulnerability?
No, I think, firstly, we're not only celebrating women here, we're celebrating vulnerability, being honest, and true strength. I think that shows that when you show yourself vulnerable, you're asking for help, and that itself is showing that you're strong enough to do that. You don't have to hide behind a facade that I'm strong and I can do it all. No, and because we're normalizing this in our workspace as well, in the corporate world, that I think vulnerability is a part of life, and it's absolutely okay to accept that part. And let's not shy away from things. Like I have a daughter, and I would like to show that to her, that I would like to practice what I preach, and this is the time that I need to practice what I think, and I need to get that to her. Because of course, kids don't listen to the theory, they actually see what you do. And that's where I want to create that safe space, and trying to show that balance is the key, not burnout. So being vulnerable is okay, but that's when you start improving and start creating the balance. And that's what saves us from being burnt out and exhausted all the time. So it's absolutely okay to show your vulnerability side
So
as well.
I would like to add something here. I really agree with you when you say that it's okay to show your vulnerable side. However, working the corporate life for 16 plus years with brands like Unilevers and all, I still feel that somewhere women who are vulnerable aren't respected enough in the boardrooms yet. If you cry or try to express or show your emotions when it comes to even a strong decision or something you believe in, you're still put in that emotional taboo, which I think somewhere is bracketing us, and somewhere it is also one of the glass ceiling up there. I think the normalization has still not happened, but yes, what she rightly said, that if we, women to women, if we decide that we'll try to normalize it, I think we can change more in the boys' club. Because boys' club are seen less today because it's digital, guys, but it still exists. So let's agree to that fact that corporate or anywhere in the industry where you're competing, shoulder to shoulder, it still exists. I think I have taken a lot of decisions personally, Zara, during my corporate life of not really letting that emotion flow, or that tear come out, or that anger, outlet to be open, just because I'm in a business leader's position. I think that somewhere still exist what I see in my fellow colleagues. So I would say it will be a beautiful world if we get there, but I think it's a long way.
So the thing is that what a woman can understand, what a woman goes through,
Yeah,
definitely
only they can.
that's why we got to create the community in the workspace that the woman feels safe and comfortable and honestly, yeah, and to be looked after. Only a woman can see that side. But the only way we can see this change happening is we're having a lot of women come into the workspace, come into the corporate space. And that's when we make it normal that the women are seeing this side. We can explain the men as well, that this is also part of life. And what women can get, as I spoke about, empathy, balance, they can see that, yes, it's creating a lot of difference to the business, to the workspace as well. So it's taking slow and steady, as you said, but it's going to get there because women are showing up for themselves and there's no looking back from now. Yeah.
I guess that's where the emotional mentorship also comes in. That's what I was talking about.
Sure.
Coming to Unimo, Neha, what role do digital communities play in reminding women that they don't have to do it all?
Okay, 11 years in the community space now. We are not just India's largest, we are world's largest today and funded by Meta. I think when we got funded by Meta, when Sheryl Sandberg spoke about us on her timeline, she wrote only one line saying, as a mother, I relate to this community. What I think was my aha moment for life, because if mothers across the world are feeling the same emotion, I think we all are going through the same journey, which is fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. And as Zara, you asked that what role does digital communities play? I think they play a massive role. Because I personally, I work with Meta very closely. When I was talking to Instagram team and I was just talking to them about communities, that Instagram still lacks community. You have fans or followers, you do not have a community. You're still not doing a two-way communication. Like we have two of the amazing influencers sitting here. I think they have so much to offer, but they're not having a two-way communication with the audience yet. However, community as a sense for a motherhood journey is very, very critical. Like as we get pregnant, we seek out for other mothers who are pregnant because we want to ask them. Even there's a generation gap. Even though if you're very close to your mother-in-law, you still want to ask a fellow mom who's of your generation about it. So I think digital communities or communities per se play a very important role. I always say it fondly. My dadis used to call it ahata. जब आंगन में बैठ के दादी तो दादी चट-चट होती थी. And today we call it community, we call it Unimo. But altogether it's the same ahata. We connect with fellow mothers and learn a little more. So, yeah. So, of course, do we need more communities?
I would want to ask each one of you all any closing thoughts about the whole topic. Tumse na ho paega. Starting with you, Anisha.
Tumse ho paega. That's all I want to say. Tumse ho paega. That's it.
So on this Tumse Na Ho Paega, I would just want to add, we were talking about the corporate, but as I have worked as a journalist on field for 7 years, let me be honest, the world outside on field is brutal for females. I mean, the way we have to deal with the crowd. And secondly, when a girl comes to me and the parent is talking to me saying कि media लड़कियों के लिए safe नहीं है, क्या ये हो पाएगा? I always tell them कि आपके बच्चे पे है, give her a chance, ho paega, but you need to tell her what's wrong or right. I mean, we all know what I'm talking about, but being on field in India still is very difficult because be it a washroom, be it dealing with the kind of men's walking around you. So I think somewhere we need to, when we say tumse na ho paega, there's a lot of courage that a female takes to go out on that field, and she will also have to be stronger in all aspects. And when the mothers or, the parents come and talk to me about कि मेरी लड़की ये करना चाहती है, एक्टर बनना चाहती है, but ये लड़कियों के लिए safe नहीं है. It's still there. I mean, that needs to be, somewhere stopped. So Tumse Na Ho Paega is, as a society, we have to make it possible for all of them. All the kids out there or the females out there. So we have to work together on it. Thank you.
I think I'll take a leaf from Pooja's thing only to give my point. Pooja ने बोला self doubt बहुत important है media में. Pooja, I am a engineer and I am grad, and when I started community and left everything, मुझे भी बोला गया तुमसे ना हो पाएगा कि ये क्या कर रहे हो यार, कि कौन सा unconventional path ले रहे हो. So I think हर किसी ने जिसने आपको कहा होगा तुमसे ना हो पाएगा, आपको उनसे बोलना हमसे ही तो हो रहा है. Okay, half the world's population is us and half the world is produced by us. तो किससे हो रहा है? हमसे ही हो रहा है.
Very well said, very well said. So, firstly, to all the women and all the men listening, Success doesn't lie in perfection, as I said, it lies in partnership. We all need to step in and collab and not help each other, because आप help नहीं कर रहे हो, you got to co-own. That's the most important thing. Take responsibility and ownership when you're stepping in, and please सुनाओ मत यार कि I'm going to help you out, this is for you. अरे boss, you're not doing it for me. We're doing it as partners. We're doing it to create a balance. And it's not for the woman to show like she's showing her importance. No, it's about balancing and letting everyone have what they want to have and owning it up. So yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. I would just take 1 minute to take a lead from the session we had before this. If we want our daughters to not go through what we are going through, like tumse na ho paega, there are two things we need to do for them. One is education, absolutely, but also save and make a fund for egg freezing. ताकि कोई उनको बड़े होके नहीं बोले अरे तुम्हारा biological clock टिक हो रहा है, अभी काम को साइड में रखो, first look after your family. So that's the two things we need to do to empower our girl child: education and egg freezing. Thank you, ladies. It's been a
Thank you
wonderful
so much. Thank
conversation. Thank you. You all have been a lovely audience, and hope you all enjoyed the panel.